So we're going to move on to all the way from New Zealand, and we see the return of VMob. The strategy director is Christopher Dawson. Please welcome Christopher. Hello. Hi, Chris. How are you? Trigger's running if you want.
Good evening. Some of you might recognise me from earlier. I was on stage a couple of hours ago. For those of you who weren't here, I'm Christopher Dawson. I'm the strategy director at VMob. We're based in Auckland, New Zealand, but we have offices around the world. VMob is a software as a service based technology company. We've built a technology platform that bricks and mortar retailers use to personalise the content that their customers see when they use their mobile apps. There are lots of retailers out there with lots of mobile apps, and they want to be able to personalise what those customers see on those mobile apps so they're more relevant to them. Bricks and mortar retailers are focusing highly on the level of customer experience that their shoppers are getting when they come into physical stores. And they're looking at different technologies that can help make the shopping experience better, and one of those technologies that they're spending most of their time investing in is mobile. So a lot of mobile strategies are building in personalisation and data to be able to improve the customer experience. Now, I spoke previously about a case study which is included in the entry here around McDonald's, but it's not really about offers and vouchers and just giving discounts. Most customers who download an app for a retailer do so for a range of different experience benefits which they get. And that might range from preferential car parking to VIP checkout services or frictionless payments or whatever services they may have. But there are a lot of different benefits for the customer. Unfortunately, for a lot of retailers, it's quite hard to measure the benefit that's actually coming back to the retailer. And this is a constant problem that retailers have. They're actually being asked by their CEOs how much revenue that is being delivered here is actually attributable back to the mobile application. It's very hard when they're not getting a lot of data back to the mobile application down to an individual customer level. So what VMob has really focused on is being able to help retailers transform their mobile apps into a strategic asset which helps them drive business results and can attribute the content that's in those apps back to the business result, whatever that content happens to be, whether that's a voucher by all means that gets them in store, or whether it's a loyalty program or whatever it is in the app. So we get individual customer level data, not anonymous aggregated data. It's tied to a device ID. And we do that by essentially personalising based on a range of different data points. So we use social data because people can connect via Facebook. We use location data, in-app usage, what people are looking at in the app, what they're sharing, what they're redeeming, things like weather around them, local events, public transport. And we do tie that back into the retailer's own transaction data. I was speaking at NRF, which is a retail conference in New York earlier this year, and I spoke to a guy who was head of the loyalty program for a well-known pharmacy. And he really articulated for me quite nicely the difference between transactional and contextual data. He said he knows everyone in his loyalty program that suffers from hay fever because he can see who's bought hay fever medication. What he would really like to know is when those individuals are near one of his pharmacies on a hot day when the pollen count is high. It's that kind of relevance that enables them to target people in a way which actually makes their experience better or adds value to that individual, gets them coming back to the store, and he can take advantage of that. So that's really the difference between transactional and contextual, and being able to help retailers build a more complete view of their customers. Now, when we do that, we're able to get, and I've talked about the case study with McDonald's, which used vouchers to actually increase the amount of redemption rates. And that happens a lot, and it happens right across the industry. It's not just in retail. Personalisation algorithms have been talked about a lot. Netflix has one of the most popular ones. 75% of shows watched on Netflix now are a result of clicks on the recommendation engine. They know what you like to watch, and they're getting to know more and more about what you like to watch. And that depends on a whole range of data points, right? Not just who you are at this, but what time you're looking at it, or who you're likely to be with, or what what sort of shows you'd previously watched immediately before that. So all of those things are sort of facts when you turn on your television. And when somebody opens an app for a retailer, that's what VMob is doing. It's taking those facts, it's finding out where you are, who you are, what you previously bought. And it's actually taking the dimensions of the different pieces of content we have and matching the pieces of content that are most likely to drive a positive engagement. If that's a redemption in store, or if that's collecting a stamp, or if that's connecting to Wi-Fi when you go to the store, those are positive engagements, so we can increase the engagement rates of customers that are using retail mobile apps, and we can actually tie that back to a group of customers and say, these ones are more valuable than these ones. And what makes them more valuable? The sort of behaviour. So what can we start to do to influence that behaviour? And that's really where a lot of this automated targeting has got to. Where VMob are taking it to the next step now is with our partner Microsoft and one of our biggest customers, McDonald's, where we're actually starting to work in a more predictive way. We're not just saying what is most likely to be engaged with or what is most likely to be redeemed. We're looking at it from the perspective of a marketer. What does a marketer want? They want to achieve specific business goals, and we're thinking about working our way back from those specific business goals. The goals set by the CMO, or the goals set by the CFO or the CEO, that we need to move this amount of product. Think of it like Google Maps. If I put into Google Maps now, I want to get from here in San Sebastian to Barcelona, it'll give me 3 or 4 different routes. And on those routes, it will tell me potentially how far it goes and how long it'll take. And that'll use a bunch of data, like weather, time of day, traffic, roadworks, major events. If we can put into an engine, into the VMob engine, about McDonald's needing to shift this amount of seasonal product, we want to then use all of the data we have to return the scenarios that can help them achieve that product. We call it automated, goal-driven recommendations. And for each of those recommendations, we can see the key indicators about why we would choose. That's average margin, estimated volume, expected profit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right on time. Brilliant. Thank you, Christopher. Personalising the retail experience in apps. And questions from the jury.
So there are a lot of companies that are claiming to do this, and I'm trying to figure out how you're differentiated and why you've got a better solution.
The key things that differentiate VMob from other companies are the fact that we've been built from the ground up in Microsoft Azure using a cloud-based platform. Essentially, it connects via open web-based APIs to a limitless number of touch points. That's particularly important now with the Internet of Things sort of coming online and more things to be able to connect to. It's not just about having a beacon or just about having weather. It's about actually adding whatever is relevant to that customer. So if there is a published data source, and that happens to come from Land Information New Zealand, or it happens to come from the post office, or it happens to come from the Weather Channel or the pollen count, that can easily be integrated. It gives a more complete picture for our clients, for our customers. It gives them a more complete picture of customers than they can get from competitors.
Time for one more? Thank you very much indeed. Excellent. Thank you so much. Brilliant. That was Christopher from VMob. Thank you very much indeed.